This isn't one of those made-up stories you hear on daytime TV. You know the kind, overly dramatic, exaggerated for ratings, and often too wild to be true. No, this story is grounded in reality, and it's as real as it gets. This is real life, folks, raw and messy. It's the kind of story that makes you question the very fabric of human nature. It's about the complexities of relationships and the emotional turmoil that can arise from them. It's about love, hate, revenge, and the heavy price you pay for it all. Imagine being so consumed by emotions that you lose sight of who you are. That's what happened to John, the man at the center of this story. You might doubt it, but trust me, this one's true. Every word, every detail has been verified. This isn't just a tale, it's a cautionary narrative that serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of our actions. It's a story that's haunted me for years, the kind that lingers in your mind long after you've heard it. It makes you reflect on your own life and the choices you've made. It makes you wonder, could this happen to me? This is a story about a man named John. John was an ordinary man with an extraordinary burden. He lived a life that seemed normal on the surface, but beneath that facade was a storm brewing. John's story is a stark reminder that revenge is a dish best left unserved. He learned this the hard way. His quest for vengeance led him down a dark path, one that he wishes he could have avoided. It's about the long shadow of our choices and the hope for redemption. John's journey is a testament to the fact that no matter how far you stray, there's always a chance to find your way back. But the road to redemption is never easy. John contacted my team because he needed to share his story. He felt an overwhelming need to unburden himself, to let the world know what he had gone through. He wanted to warn others, to prevent them from making the same mistakes. He needed to unburden himself. This is his truth. And as you listen to his story, I hope you take away the lessons he learned. Life is fragile, and our choices have far-reaching consequences. This is John's story, and it's one you won't soon forget. John's life was once filled with joy and laughter. He had a loving family, a stable job, and a future that seemed bright. But all of that changed in an instant. A single moment of anger, a decision made in the heat of the moment, set off a chain of events that would alter his life forever. He lost everything: his family, his friends, his sense of self. The anger that once fueled him turned into regret, and the regret turned into a heavy burden that he carried with him every day. He became a shadow of his former self, haunted by the choices he made. But John's story doesn't end in despair. It's also a story of hope and redemption. Despite the darkness that enveloped him, he found a way to claw his way back to the light. It wasn't easy, and it took years of hard work and self-reflection, but he did it. He sought help, reached out to those who could understand his pain, and slowly but surely, he began to heal. He found solace in sharing his story, in helping others who were going through similar struggles. He turned his pain into a purpose, and in doing so, he found a new sense of self. Today, John is a different man. He's not the same person he was before, but in many ways, he's stronger. He's learned the value of forgiveness, both of others and of himself. He's learned that while we can't change the past, we can shape our future. And that's the message he wants to share with the world. No matter how dark things may seem, there's always a way forward, there's always hope. This is John's story, and it's a story you won't believe, but it's one you need to hear. John and Ebony were young and reckless. They met on a warm summer evening, the kind where the air is thick with possibility and the night seems endless. From the moment their eyes locked, there was an undeniable spark. They were drawn to each other like moths to a flame, unable to resist the pull of their intense connection. Their love was a wildfire, intense and destructive. It consumed everything in its path, leaving nothing but ashes in its wake. They fought passionately, their arguments as fierce as their love. But just as quickly as the flames would ignite, they would die down, leaving a smoldering aftermath of regret and sorrow. He was drawn to her energy, her vibrancy. Ebony had a way of lighting up a room, her laughter infectious and her spirit uncontainable. She was the life of every party, the center of attention wherever she went. John couldn't help but be captivated by her, his heart racing every time she looked his way. But Ebony was trouble with a capital T. Beneath her charming exterior lay a tumultuous soul, one that thrived on chaos and unpredictability. She had a knack for getting into sticky situations, her mischievous nature often leading her down a path of self-destruction. She was manipulative, selfish, and addicted to the fast life. Nights out at the club, surrounded by flashing lights and pounding music, were her escape. She craved the thrill of the moment, the rush of adrenaline that came with living on the edge. But with every high came a devastating low, and John was always there to pick up the pieces. Their relationship was a constant roller coaster of highs and lows. One moment they were inseparable, lost in each other's embrace, and the next they were at each other's throats, their love teetering on the brink of collapse. It was a never-ending cycle of passion and pain, a dance they couldn't seem to escape. John was constantly putting out fires, trying to save Ebony from herself. He was her rock, the one person she could always count on, even when she didn't deserve it. He would stay up all night, worrying about her, trying to find a way to keep her safe from her own demons. He bailed her out of jail, paid her debts, and stood by her side through every crisis. No matter how many times she let him down, he couldn't bring himself to walk away. He believed in her, believed that she could change, that their love was worth fighting for, and endured her lies and betrayals. Each time she broke his trust, it felt like a dagger to his heart, but he always found a way to forgive her. He held on to the hope that one day she would see the error of her ways and choose a different path. He thought he could change her, fix her. He was wrong. The realization hit him like a ton of bricks, the weight of his naivety crushing his spirit. He had poured everything he had into their relationship only to find that some things were beyond his control. Ebony was a force of nature, wild and untamed, and no amount of love could change that. In the end, John had to make the hardest decision of his life. He had to let her go. It was a painful choice, one that tore at his very soul, but he knew it was the only way to save himself. As he walked away, he felt a mix of relief and sorrow, knowing that he had done everything he could, but it was time to move on. John found solace in the quiet moments, the stillness of the world around him. He learned to find peace within himself, to let go of the chaos that had once consumed his life. And though the memories of Ebony would always linger, he knew that he had made the right choice. He had chosen himself, and in doing so, he had found a new kind of strength. With time, John began to heal. He rediscovered the joy in the simple things, the beauty in the everyday moments. He learned to love again, this time with a heart that was whole and unburdened by the past. And as he moved forward, he carried with him the lessons he had learned, the scars that had made him stronger, and the hope for a brighter future. One night, everything changed. Ebony disappeared with all of John's savings. She left him with nothing but a mountain of debt and a broken heart. To add insult to injury, she was pregnant with his child. John was devastated. He swore he would never let her hurt him again. He vowed to build a good life for himself and his child, a life Ebony could only dream of. This wasn't about love anymore. It was about revenge. John met a wonderful woman named Sarah. They fell in love and got married. Sarah embraced John's son as her own. When Ebony finally resurfaced, she had a daughter. John stepped up and took responsibility for her too. John worked tirelessly to provide for his family. He sacrificed his wants and needs to ensure his children had everything they needed. He was determined to give them the stable and loving home he never had. Section 5. 5 years of striving. Years passed. John built a successful career. He and Sarah bought a beautiful home and provided their children with every opportunity. They were living the American dream. Meanwhile, Ebony drifted from one bad relationship to another. She made no effort to contact her daughter or contribute to her upbringing. John felt a grim satisfaction. He was winning. His life was a testament to his hard work and dedication, a stark contrast to Ebony's chaotic existence. Section 6. Worlds Apart. 15 years after their tumultuous breakup, Ebony reappeared. She showed up at John's doorstep, a shadow of her former self. She was gaunt, her clothes were ragged, and her eyes held a mixture of envy and despair. She had come to see her daughter, the daughter she had abandoned years ago. John watched as his daughter, now a confident and successful young woman, interacted with her mother. The contrast was jarring. Section 7. A dose of reality. Ebony was confronted with the life she could have had. She saw the loving family, the beautiful home, and the successful children. She saw the life she had thrown away. John saw a flicker of something in Ebony's eyes that day, a mix of regret and shame. For a moment he felt a sense of victory, a vindication for all the pain she had caused him. But it was a hollow victory. Section 8. The downward spiral. Ebony's visit was a wake-up call, but not the kind she needed. She spiraled further into despair and alcoholism. John learned from mutual friends that she was living on the streets, consumed by regret and self-pity. His revenge, once a source of grim satisfaction, now felt like a heavy weight on his soul. He had built his life on the ashes of their relationship, but at what cost? Section 9. A call in the night. One rainy night, John received a call. It was Ebony, her voice slurred and weak. She apologized for everything, for the pain she had caused him and their daughter. She told him she was dying. John listened in stunned silence as Ebony poured out her heart. She told him she regretted her choices, that she was proud of the woman their daughter had become. It was a conversation years in the making, filled with pain, regret, and a sliver of forgiveness. Section 10. The Price of Revenge. Ebony died a few weeks later. Her passing was a somber event, marked by the quiet tears of those who loved her and the heavy silence of those who felt the weight of her absence. The hospital bed where she had spent her final days now stood empty, a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the finality of death. John was left grappling with a maelstrom of emotions, guilt, grief, and a profound sense of emptiness. He often found himself sitting alone, lost in thought, trying to make sense of the whirlwind that had become his life. The bench in the park where he used to find solace now felt like a place of torment, and the view from his window, once a source of inspiration, now only reflected his inner turmoil. He realized that his revenge had come at a high price. The satisfaction he had once sought now seemed hollow, overshadowed by the regret that gnawed at his soul. Each tear that fell was a testament to the pain he had inflicted not only on others, but also on himself. The weight of his actions bore down on him, making each day a struggle to endure. It had cost him years of peace, and ultimately, it had changed nothing. The passage of time, once a healer, now felt like an endless reminder of his mistakes. The dark room where he often found himself was a reflection of his inner state, a place where light struggled to penetrate. The clock's hands moved relentlessly, but for John, time seemed to stand still, trapping him in a cycle of regret and sorrow. John's story is a cautionary tale about the corrosive nature of revenge. As he looked through old photographs, memories of happier times only deepened his sorrow. The deserted streets he walked at night mirrored his isolation, a stark contrast to the vibrant life he once knew. His journey through the shadows of his past served as a powerful reminder of the destructive power of vengeance. It reminds us that forgiveness, while difficult, is the only path to true healing. The embrace of forgiveness can mend even the deepest wounds, offering a chance for redemption and peace. Writing in a journal, John began to reflect on his journey, seeking to understand and perhaps find a way to forgive himself. The act of putting pen to paper became a therapeutic process, a way to navigate the complex emotions that had taken root in his heart. It's a story that will stay with me, and I hope it stays with you too. The lessons learned from John's experience are profound, touching on the very essence of what it means to be human. As I reflect on his story, I am reminded of the importance of compassion, understanding, and the power of forgiveness. I hope that you too will carry these lessons with you, finding strength in the knowledge that even in our darkest moments, there is always a path to healing and redemption.